Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be bringing you a bodyweight only legs, bums and Tums workout. So just a little bit about me. My name is Femi and I'm a pre and postnatal qualified personal trainer, and my business is called Strong for Every Day. So if you want to find out a little bit more about me and what I do, then just look in the description box below. You'll find all my social media links and website details. Let's get into the workout. Starting off with a warm-up, you're going to start with walkouts. So you're walking yourself into a plank position, making sure that you're staying in that high plank and then coming back up and reaching for the ceiling. You're going to do about 4 or 5 reps of those. On the last rep, I want you to bring one of your feet forward. Try to bring it as close to your hand as possible, keeping the foot flat. And then you're just going to rotate a few times to warm up your hips. So do a few reps in each direction. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're now going to come into a downward dog position, and the aim here is to walk your heels and to warm up your calf muscles. So you're going to do about 6 or 7 on each side whilst keeping your hips nice and high. And once you're done, jump your feet forward and then try to stay in the squat position where your feet are quite wide and pushing your elbows against your knees and rocking from side to side. Back up to standing, and you're taking your feet wide again, and you're going into a side lunge from side to side. Quite dynamic here, warming up the inner thighs. Keeping the feet wide, you're going to go into a squat and reach. So again, sticking with warming up the inner thighs, also using the core and warming up the arms. Again, we're moving quite dynamically through these movements. So do about 6 to 8 reps of these squats. Getting into the workout. So our first exercise is a sumo squat with a pulse. So the feet are staying wide, you're pushing your toes out and your knees are going in the same direction as the toes. When you come down, you're pulsing and coming back up. So you want to feel this movement in your inner thighs and your glutes. As you're squatting, try to keep your chest up and really sit in between the space in your legs. Moving on to static lunges. So you are bringing one foot back and you want to make sure that you're rotating your hips forward so your hips are facing the same direction as your front foot. The back heel stays elevated as you come down into the lunge, making sure that your knees are at 90 degrees and your core is engaged. So make sure that you're sending your belly button to your spine and keeping the body upright. So your next exercise is a curtsy lunge, and you're going to be doing 12 on each side. So with your curtsy lunges, you want to make sure that you're stepping into a diagonal lunge and not straight back. You're going to feel this on the standing legs, glutes, so on the side of your bum. Again, make sure you're keeping your knees at 90 degrees and keep that chest nice and upright. Next up, we've got plank shoulder taps. So starting in a high plank position, again, making sure your core is nice and tight. You want to make sure that you're keeping your hips nice and still as you're tapping each shoulder. If you need to drop down to your knees, you can, but again, just make sure you're maintaining that tension in your core. Now for your bird dogs, you're going to be in a position on all fours, and you want to make sure that you're keeping your core engaged as we have been throughout. You're sticking to one side, so extending opposite arm and opposite leg. And as you're doing so, make sure you're keeping your back nice and flat. So you're extending your arm from your shoulders and you're extending your leg from your glutes. You're doing 10 on each side before swapping over to the other side. Okay, so for your glute bridges, you want to make sure that you're keeping your back nice and flat and your heels where you can touch your fingers. You want to make sure that you're digging your heels in as you're lifting your hips up and squeeze the glutes. Be sure to keep your knees apart the entire time that you're doing your glute bridges. So for each rep, make sure you're squeezing your glutes, hold it for a second before coming back down. You want to make sure that you're only feeling these in your glutes. So if you're feeling them anywhere else, then just move your feet around a little bit. So either take them a bit wider or a bit closer to your bum. So keeping your hips up, we're going into 16 hip lift marches. So you're going to be keeping your core engaged and your hips up as you alternate which heel you pick up. As you're picking up each foot, make sure you're keeping your knees bent and stay in this controlled position throughout. Staying on our backs, we're going to go into dead bugs. So again, make sure that your back is nice and flat, shoulders are down. You're going to extend opposite arm and opposite leg and make sure that your foot is not touching the floor as you extend. The arm and the leg that are staying in the middle, make sure they're staying there stationary without moving. So make sure they're not pulling as you are extending the other side. Now, if that is a little bit too much pressure on your core, then you'll see that in a moment I'll show you the alternative where you're just keeping your arms in the middle and you're tapping your heels down. So here you can touch the floor with your heels and that will be less pressure on your core. Okay, so we're going into mini crunches. So we're not doing a full setup here, just slightly lifting the head and the shoulders. And you're just watching your stomach here, make sure that your back is nice and flat. You still want to feel that contraction, but of course, if you have any issues with diastasis and you're worried about doming, then perhaps leave this exercise out, or just focus on very small head lifts and you can drop your heels to do that, and that will make it a little bit easier and add less pressure to your core. So for your glute kickbacks, we're doing 12 on each side. Come down onto your forearms to help your back stay nice and straight. And you're just going to go into small pulses each time, making sure that you can feel your glutes and keeping your back nice and flat. Then we're going straight into hamstring curls, 10 on each side. And you want to aim to keep your knee as high as you can and just bending at the knee before switching over to the other side. Okay, so in a side lying position, we're going to be doing clamshells. So you're going to keep your knees together and your heels together and lift up your heels and the bottom knee stays down. Make sure that you're not rolling on that hip bone as you're doing these. You want to feel them in the side of your bum. If keeping your heels high is too hard, then just drop your heels down to the floor, still avoiding your hips rolling back. So coming up into a side plank position, make sure that your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. Bring those hips up and you're going to keep them up whilst you are taking the elbow to the knee. So we're going to do 10 reps here. Okay, so we are finished. We're going to go into our stretches. The first one is a glute stretch where you're hugging your knee with the opposite elbow and twisting towards the knee, and you want to feel that stretch down the side of your bum. Hold each side for about 20 to 30 seconds. Coming onto one knee, you're just going to push your pelvis forward and you want to feel that stretch down the front of your thigh. So starting by your hips, and it's going to move down the front of your thigh. Once again, hold each side about 20 to 30 seconds. And then coming up to standing, you're going to take your feet wide, keep your knees straight, and you're just coming into this hanging position. So stretching the back of your legs and just continuing to bring your heart rate down, but taking deep breaths in and out. So hang here for about 10-15 seconds and then slowly roll your head back up, and we're all done. So well done, guys. This is your 20-ish minutes legs, bums and Tums workout. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any requests for any other videos, please do not forget to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. See you next time. Bye.